What happens when a group of paranormal investigators start a conversation? You get Ghost to the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. Tales of the dead, the bizarre, and all things supernatural. Join us today as we dive back into cursed games. Ooh.
That's for Deborah.
Oh, goodness. Da, da, da. Hi, and welcome back to Ghost to the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. I'm Erin.
I'm Linnea.
And we are missing Deborah today, which is so weird. But how are you doing?
I'm okay. So, you just got back from a trip. You want to tell
I
us a little bit about
did.
that?
Yes, I just got back from a 4-day bender. No, it wasn't a bender. A 4-day vacation in Vegas with my family. And it was great. I only lost $60.
Okay.
So that's
Any
all
winners in the
I
family?
do. What?
Any winners in the family?
Girl, my grandma won $1,000.
Good for Grandma.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Nice birthday treat.
Right. So yeah, we went for my grandma's birthday. She turned 75, and that was the thing that she wanted to do was go to Vegas with the girls and live it up. And we did. We did just that. And it was an exhausting trip, but it was such a fun time. We got to see I got to do things that I never thought I would get to do. I got to see the Grand Canyon.
I got a
So,
co-host in my picture.
do you?
Yeah, you want to
Blanche
see her?
might pop in. We're doing this a little early, so Blanche's dinner time is at 6. So I'm hoping she can hold out until we get
We
done.
should just change the name to like Paranormal Pause.
Yeah,
We always got a dog in
paranormal
an episode.
paranormal pets. Yeah, there's always going to be a dog somewhere.
We're about to get
But
another one in a second.
we're recording this remotely today, which is
Yeah,
weird.
feels a little different.
It does. I'm at the table, but nobody else.
Well,
So
I'm at my desk and there's a dog trying to steal a dog bed from under my desk.
fun times for Ghosts of the Coast Paranormal the Pets. Um
Podcast.
yeah, the podcast. I love it. So we are bringing you a part 2 of the Curse games, and this will probably be probably part of an ongoing series because there's so many games that we can cover. So yeah, let's get into it. And I'll ask the question to you, even though we already did an episode on the Curse games, but have you played any of these games?
So some of the ones that we'd already discussed I played, but I think a lot of the ones that we're moving into, I have not. Some of them,
I
I
have
mean, I
not.
haven't heard of quite a few of these.
Yeah, I haven't either. So we'll just go through a few of them and so so the first one that I want to talk about is the Midnight Game or the Midnight Man.
So that's a movie, isn't it?
I don't remember. I feel like it probably
Sounds like a
is.
movie.
Yeah, I feel like it probably is a movie,
I feel like it's
but
actually watched on Netflix.
let's find out.
It is 2016 horror.
Oh, nice.
Now that I know
The
it's a game, I
Midnight
might have to
Game.
rewatch it. So tell me
Yeah.
about it.
So this game it's called the Midnight Game. This comes from gridlove.com, and it says, quote, "The Midnight Game is an ancient pagan ritual that was used in the Dark Ages to punish those who broke the law and or the tradition of religion. Uh recently, let's see. Sorry. Recently, the game has become popular with kids and teenagers on the internet who perform the ritual to summon the Midnight Man. They do it as a dare or as a thrill-seeking exercise, little knowing how dangerous this ancient ritual actually is. So, and there's a warning posted. It says, quote, "Warning, do not play the midnight game. It is very dangerous. There is a real," sorry, my phone keeps going off. "There is a real chance of death for those who play the midnight game, and there is an even greater chance that it will drive you insane. It is highly recommended that you do not play the midnight game. If you choose to do so, you do so at your own risk." And I will say this as our own disclaimer, we are not responsible for anything that you bring into your home. Uh, and all of these games are not recommended. They are simply at your own risk. Ghost of the Coast Paranormal is not responsible for any demons that might enter your home. So to play the midnight game, you have to prepare for it, obviously. So things you will need: a large candle, a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, a box of matches or a lighter, and a container of salt, a needle or pin, and a house with a wooden front door. Which, like our door, obviously I'm not going to play that game, but my doors are not wooden. My front door is not wooden.
Yeah, I don't think most are anymore because they have to be
Yeah.
they have to be fire resistant. So
Right.
I don't even know where you'd get an all wood door anymore. Not a front one
Mm-mm.
anyway.
Not a front door, but who knows? I won't be playing it in my house. So here's how the game is played. Step 1: write your name on a piece of paper. It must be your full name, first, middle, and last. Step 2: prick your finger and place a drop of blood on the piece of paper. Allow the blood to soak in. So see, now we're getting in, like we got the last time we did the games, we had talked about the doll game, the hide and seek game. But like there's a difference between, for me, and I'll get back into the steps. So there's a difference between like um just simply sitting there with a Ouija board and saying, "Oh, who are we gonna talk to?" Or then there is like you're actually getting blood into this
Yeah,
ritual
you're
now.
doing a ritual. That's not a game. You're
Yeah.
performing a ritual
Yeah,
at that point.
you've taken a step from a fun campy game to
Yeah.
straight up like summoning some shit.
Hmm.
So, oh,
Somebody
here's the,
probably found an old book somewhere and started making this up.
yeah. Was it the Necronomicon or whatever?
Gosh.
All right, so step 3: turn off all the lights in your house and stand at your front door. The door must be wooden. Step 4: place the piece of paper in front of the door and light the candle and place it on top of the piece of paper. So it's not very clear if the paper is inside your house or outside your house, but I'm assuming it's outside. Step 5: at the stroke of midnight, knock on your front door 22 times. You must finish knocking before the clock moves to 12:01 a.m. So I'm assuming you're standing outside your home. Um, Step 6: open the front door and blow out the candle. Step 7: close the door again immediately and relight the candle. So once you get into your home, relight the candle. You have just invited the Midnight Man into your home. Now the midnight game begins.
Okay. Now I remember the movie.
I'm gonna try and find the movie because that
I think it's on
sounds.
Netflix.
Oh, I don't have Netflix. They too expensive. Um. All right, so the game has begun, and now you must walk around the house in the dark with only the lit candle in hand. Your goal is to avoid the Midnight Man at all costs and until exactly 3:33 a.m. See, and this is where like rituals come into play because you have the use of numbers. So you start at 12. and you have to have 22 knocks before 12:01. But then you have to. It ends at 3:33. So there's like a lot of repeating numbers there.
There's something I want to say so bad now, but it's a spoiler alert on the movie, so I can't.
Oh, I probably won't watch it because I don't have Netflix.
I may want to.
um, but if your candle goes out, it means that the Midnight Man is near you. You have to relight the candle within the next 10 seconds, or the Midnight Man will get you. The candle is your only protection. If you relight the candle within this time, you can continue moving around the house, avoiding the Midnight Man. If you are not able to relight the candle fast enough, you must immediately surround yourself with a circle of salt. You must remain in that circle of salt until 3:33 a.m. The salt is your last line of defense. Do not step outside of the circle or the Midnight Man will get you. If you make it to 3:33 a.m. without being trapped within the circle, it means you have won the midnight game. Whatever happens, the Midnight Man will leave at 3:33 a.m. And if you're still alive, it is safe to go to sleep. If you spend the entire game staying in one spot, this will only result in the Midnight Man finding you. It is highly advised that you keep moving throughout the game. Signs that the Midnight Man is nearby: your candle will blow out, you will feel a sudden extreme cold, you will hear a low whisper, you will see a shadowy figure of a man in the darkness. So, sounds like a typical Saturday night for us.
Minus.
Minus the rituals, yes.
um,
Uh,
what what year is that article from? Just out of curiosity.
um, let's see. 2011.
Okay.
Do you have a more recent one?
No, I was just kind of curious as to whether this was like a long existing game or maybe once the movie came out, somebody was like, let's write this down as a game. You know what I mean? But the movie came out in 2016.
Oh, so this came before the movie.
Yeah.
So the rules of the game, God, those weren't the rules. I thought those were the rules. So the rules of the game, um, do not turn on any lights during the midnight game. Do not use the flashlight during the midnight game. Do not fall asleep during the game. Do not use another person's blood on the paper that bears your name. Well, because it's a freaking ritual. I mean, and kids are like, yeah, let's play the midnight game.
And in the
Um,
movie, it is kids playing.
yeah, I mean, kids are dumb. Everybody who listens to us is over 18, so we can say that, but kids are dumb. But do not try to use a lighter instead of a candle. It will not work. Not to mention you'll burn your fingers.
Yes.
Do not attempt to provoke or anger the Midnight Man in any way. It must be exactly 12 a.m. when you begin performing the ritual, otherwise it will not work. Some final words of advice. Do not play this game. There are many dangers involved. Summoning a spirit or inviting a ghost or demon into your home is incredibly dangerous. You could be abducted or become possessed. Who's gonna a fucking ghost do that?
Maybe into the spirit world.
They're gonna abduct you. Uh, Running around with matches and candles in the dark is extremely dangerous. Do not burn yourself or set your house on fire. Pricking your finger and messing around with blood is dangerous. Do not allow yourself to come into contact with someone else's blood. You could catch a fatal disease, and therefore visit the spirit world for yourself. Finally, our advice to you is do not play this game. So, those are some very specific instructions. What do you think about those?
um, Interesting. And now I can't get the movie out of my head.
Yeah, I might have to go watch the movie. Do they like have salt and everything in there?
Yep, yep. They have the salt, they have the candles, the clocks, they go off the clocks. That's a big one.
So you know
Um,
what's funny about that? Like I wonder if they had any experiences on set because they're
mm,
pretty much actually playing the game.
right.
So I wonder what their experiences were on set.
Well, they're not doing it continuously, so right, the game says you can't, you have to have the candle the whole time. So they're think about short clips that they're doing. They're probably not actually following it enough
True.
in order to play the game. Although, did they open something in the location that it's
Right.
kind of like a Ouija board, you're starting it, and then if you don't close it out,
Yeah.
I don't
Well, and
know.
it's kind of too like, wouldn't it be because you're constantly repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. So you're constantly giving it that energy. So wouldn't that, in a sense, be a form of provoking as well?
Yeah, why not?
Because you're constantly like
I
taunting this
mean,
thing.
really think about like, have you ever watched the shows on the haunted movies, the cursed films?
Yeah.
Think of how many films there are where people were legit like bad thing. Like there was the one movie that was still never made to this day, and every time the main star, like something would happen to him. Like I think John Belushi was supposed to be in it, he died. Somebody else was supposed to be in it,
Well,
they died. Like,
didn't Eli Roth just do a show about that? Like all of those things? Like,
is he the cursed films one? Is
I
that the
think,
one that's called cursed films?
I want to say, but it was like, so the exorcism, no, not the exorcism. Well, yeah, the exorcism,
The
the
Omen
priest
and the
died, didn't
Exorcist.
he? And
I believe so.
then, um, the Poltergeist movie, the little girl, she died, and somebody else in that movie died, didn't they?
This is on Shutter and AMC. There was a lot. I mean, I don't even remember because I was just listening to the one. But now that I'm looking at the season, I need to go back. Because I was just starting to watch The Serpent and the Rainbow the other day, and that's one of them now on
Hmm.
here. Rosemary's Baby, The Wizard of Oz, which I think everybody knows about The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Wizard of Oz.
This is
Um.
different than Eli Roth, though.
Oh, okay. All right. So I do have a couple of experiences of the Midnight Game. So this still is from gridlove.com.
Okay.
This experience says, quote, I lit the candle and ran around the house freaking out for about 10 minutes. Then I heard a door slam somewhere, and I admit I started crying. It had to have been about 3 hours, and I hadn't seen or felt anything but an occasional chill. Then what I imagined was about 3:30. I heard a huge crash in the upstairs bathroom. I freaked out and avoided it for a while, then went in. As I went to go in, I saw a silhouette and my candle went out. The guy was right there. So I basically said, screw it, threw my candle away and threw down the best salt circle in history ever made in the dark. I stood there shivering my brains out for about 3 minutes. Then I suddenly heard the front door open and all of my friends ran into the house yelling for me. The lights all came on and my friends looked at me and I just collapsed. Scariest thing ever. I do not recommend ever playing the midnight game. End quote. She's just like, nope, I'm done. They just gave up. They're like, no, thank you. I'm finished here. Uh,
Do any of us drink salt with us when we go on our investigations?
do we need to? Are we are
Wow.
we
Who
play
knows?
are,
We might want to just in case. I
are
could
we
throw
br-
down a salt circle.
heck yeah. I
Just in
mean,
case.
just I have a whole unopened thing. I have like two things of salt in my house, like big old Morton
I only
salt.
got a small little thing, not enough to, and maybe enough to go across the front door, but
Yeah.
not put a circle
I'll
around
bring
us.
ci- I'll bring cinnamon and salt. There we go. We'll be good. I have another experience from the comments of this article. Um and I am not even gonna try and pronounce this name. It's like 9S, the Yora android. Something weird.
Okay.
Quote, one more real story to those who want to play this. I remember playing this when I was in high school. Everything was fine at first. At exactly 1:47 a.m., I crashed into the dirty pots and pans and nearly set a wooden spoon on fire. My ear piercing was infected at the time, so it hurt like hell when a pan or whatever fell on it. Then that's about when my candle went out. I felt cold next to me, so I took a random pot and threw it at the Midnight Man.
Oh my gosh.
I threw the salt on the floor and spread it out as far as I can in the circle. I still had some salt on my hands, so I couldn't itch my eyes. I just sat there in pain and fear. At one point, I heard a tremendous crash from my room. When the night was over, I saw that things were messed up within my office and my room and the dinner table. Someone, Midnight Man, had ripped my pillow in half. Do not do this.
Um, I don't know. So on that one, I kind of feel like they would have done more than rip the pillow in half. But
Right,
thank you.
right, right. But yeah, I don't think I would do this one. I think there's it's there's too much risk involved in it. You know, there's too much because you're dealing with blood at that time. You're dealing with, I mean,
Like you said, it's a
it
ritual.
passes
Like
the
you already,
threshold between, yeah, yeah, it passes that threshold between the
I mean,
spirit
it's
world
literally
and
everything that you use,
straight
right?
up.
Candles, salt, blood. Like it's not a game.
Right. No, it is definitely not a game. It is a straight up ritual. I do have a couple more stories on the Midnight Man. They're a little bit long, but we'll get through them. All right. So this comes from Reddit, and it's from the subreddit No Sleep, and there is no the author of it says deleted, so I'm assuming that means they don't have an account or they played the Midnight Man and they are no longer with us.
They cease to exist.
Right. So um this is called The Midnight Game. I played it and I was a complete moron. I need to tell this to someone. And it says, okay, so a while ago, a friend of mine sent me an intriguing URL saying, I suggest we do this sometime. Of course, talking about the Midnight Game, which everybody here on No Sleep has known about for a couple years at least. And if you're unfamiliar, here's the rules, and it gives a link. Um, For those of you who don't want to read all of that, the gist is you write your name on a piece of paper, put your blood on it, light a candle, and then put them both in front of your door, a wooden door. As the time nears midnight, you start to knock on your own front door 22 times. I'm going to bypass all that since we've already covered that. So this person continues to say, I, like most generic Redditors, don't have any belief in the supernatural, and I like to test little things like this as a way of amusing myself. And until this weekend, I have zero respect for anything of this sort. And this came out, let me see when this was published.
11 years ago.
Oh, you got the same story?
Yeah.
Um, I come into the subreddit to read creepypasta, but I've never had a genuine paranormal experience, to the best of my knowledge. Just this past Friday, I remembered suddenly when my friend told me about the Midnight Game. Since I wouldn't have the opportune time to do this otherwise, as I live with my mother and she has been spending the night often with my grandparents to help care for them, I call his friend up and ask if he's still in, to which he replies, verbatim, shit yeah. I've been waiting for this call. Splendid. My friend, who we'll call Ryan because that's his name, picks up two giant ass Morton salt shakers on the way over around midnight. Or, excuse me, around 10 p.m. All right. Ryan is basically the same as me, smart ass ish about things like this, but still a little apprehensive of the dark. And as he's admitted when he told me about it, he would never do this on his own. I don't think I would either.
I don't I don't think you're supposed to be able to. I think it's supposed
No.
to people. But as
Um,
you know, with anything like this, you should never do anything on your own.
all right. So before I continue, I figure I'll give you the pictures. Okay, we don't need to see pictures of your house, dude. We're fast forwarding.
Actually, I might want to.
Well, they're up there. Click the link if you would like to see pictures of the person's house.
We'll post
Um,
it.
we'll post this story in the description. Um, if you don't care, don't want to look, uh, that's fine for the most part. But I have to draw your attention to two photos of the back room. I did already look at these photos when we were researching for the first Curse Games episode. Essentially, they have essentially a Carolina room, which in Florida they call it a Florida room. Um, and so that's like the back half of the house. And there was part on it where during the game, part of the ceiling fell. All right, so the game starts as follows. 11:55 p.m. Ryan and I are getting our materials ready so we can write, prick, and knock all in the allotted time span. Ryan suggests that we throw the fuse since turning on the light means losing the game, but I don't really feel comfortable with fumbling around with all that. We just need to be disciplined, not to turn anything with power on, and we'll be good. So, first question for that, since you can't have any lights on, does that mean like your stove and microwave as well?
I don't know. But I'm also thinking too, did you mention like what time it says you should start the game or any time goes?
Um, you have to start at midnight and you have to be done. You have to start knocking at midnight and you have to be done with your knocking at 12:01.
That's hard to time out to space that the right way though, I think. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
11:59 to 12 a.m. So he's got a whole timeline and I can appreciate that. I mean, makes it easier for me to follow. We execute our name cards really well, and I ended up doing the honor of knocking. Ryan helps me synchronize the knocks so I get it right on the dot. We blow out our candle and re-enter, lighting them again. As soon as we both have things lit, Ryan lets out a ooh, and we both laugh and relax a little. So here's the thing. So they started at 11:59 to 12, not from 12 to 12:01.
Right.
So that makes it sound like it could be done.
Well, the rules may alter from like site to site you see them too, you know? Things it's like playing the game of telephone.
Yeah,
It says this.
you have to account for time changes, time
Oh,
differences. Because if we played it in Vegas, it would only be
right, right.
yeah, it'd only be what 8 o'clock. Um, let's see, 12 a.m. to 12:45 a.m. You're supposed to move around, or the Midnight Man is able to find you, or something. So we just creep slowly, tracing the wall and staying in the more open rooms. We start towards my bedroom, but Ryan says he feels like it would be too cramped. Both of our candles are doing just fine, and as the Florida nights at this time of year, the house is as hot as expected. As we walk around, we talk and joke a little bit, though we are definitely both nervous to some degree. 12:45 to 12:55. Ryan asked me if we're allowed to eat during the game. God, that would be me. I mean,
I was
That
gonna
would that would be me. I'd be like,
team.
can I get a snack?
We're going tonight. Is there a refrigerator?
Is there a refrigerator? Can we
We'll
bring
bring donuts.
donuts? I actually hadn't a clue, and I told him to go for it. If he can avoid opening the fridge, since I'm sure the light would disqualify us from the game. So if you turn like is it if you turn a light on, do you like die or does the game just end and he like it's like, "Oh crap, a light. Let me run away."
I think so because then if somebody wanted to get out of it, the game, period, they could just turn the lights on and be done with it, right?
Right, right.
Like this game does not end until 3:33.
And you turn the lights on, he'll just find you.
Yeah, it's like bad stuff. Yeah, you gotta watch the movie.
Yeah. I actually don't know what he ate because I forgot to ask and was distracted by what he said when he came back into the living room. With a full mouth, he says, "When is the night man supposed to arrive?" And damn it, I wish he hadn't said that because I reply, "The night man, that's," and at that moment, I regret more than anything, I began to sing, "Dayman, the champion of the Nightman. Uh-huh. Um, Ryan chimes in, and in an instant, both of us are singing the Nightman Cometh from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Great show, by the way. um, Doing that was the single most stupidest thing I did because the night was not the same from that point on. So they taunted it with that song. 12:58 a.m. The only reason I remember the exact time is that I was looking at my watch by candlelight when the mother just went out. I didn't think I could panic like such a little girl, but I quickly relit it in no more than 5 seconds. Shit, that was close, I say, or something like that. And Ryan looked at me silently. He makes a weird face, and I asked him what's wrong. "What did you say?" he asked me. I repeated myself. I said, "Shit, that was close." And he waves his hand and says, "No, no, no. I heard that. What did you say? What did you start to say right after that?" Apparently, he had heard me whispering words immediately following what I said. We moved towards the bathroom and the hallway pretty quickly. So basically, you just to make a big old circle around your house. 1:25 a.m. We've been walking around slowly, but with a bit more purpose than before. No more joking around, not much talking between us except the necessary communication. We both feel a little more humble than we had when we started. We both start to go from the bedroom and towards my mom's room, and that's when I looked right into the hallway bathroom, and there is a figure standing in the tub, part obscured by the drawn curtain. Our candles remain intact, so I grabbed Ryan's shirt firmly and speed walked toward the kitchen. Ryan didn't even ask me what was going on. Once we got to the far end of the kitchen, I asked him if he saw it too, and he did. At this point, Ryan asked me if there was anything in the rules that let you opt out of the game. He
A
really didn't want to continue.
little late to ask, no?
Right. It's like, you're in it, buddy. You just
Like,
gotta.
imagine being that afraid and, like, you look at the clock and you're like, "Oh my god, there's still, like, 2 hours to go."
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine like every
Ugh.
single minute just ticking by so
And can you even sit
slowly?
in one spot?
Yeah. It's just like so slow. You're just, and every second you're like, oh my God, I just want to be done with this. Um, So anyway, that he could opt out of the game. He didn't want to continue, but he was too scared to turn on the lights and find out what happened from there. So he continued with me. I don't know what I have done if he left. 1:40 a.m. We're staying in the kitchen and the garage area, going back and forth between them, and I'm basically holding my breath whenever we're going through a threshold, since I just expect to see him there. Things seem to calm down a bit until around this time I realize something horrible. "Ryan," I asked, "where's the salt that you brought?" I didn't ask him because I didn't know, but because I didn't want to have to say it. He answered just as I thought he would, your bedroom.
Oh my lord.
Uh, this is a funny quote because it's just a funny swear. He says, "Damn it, damn it, damn it, son of a whore."
I say that all the time.
Son of a whore. Uh, we talk it over for a minute and basically conclude that we absolutely need the salt if things go wrong. We start towards my room, 1:45, so it took him 5 minutes to get there. Even though the kitchen and the bedroom were barely more than 10-second sprint apart from each other, we don't dare do that. Do what?
How big is this place?
It's not big at all.
It would take 5 minutes.
Because they were walking really, really slow. They didn't want the
If I
candle.
crawled through my entire house, I could probably do it 4 times in 5 minutes.
Yeah, they didn't want the candle to go out. We don't dare do that. And any quick motion is basically just begging for your candle to go out. And I can't help but feel like running will provoke him. We inch our way towards the hallway, and finally, we have the same view of the bathroom that we had prior. I make myself look because I can't. I make myself look because I cannot. If he's still there, I want to know, and nothing. I just see a dark bathroom and nothing but that. I think that was the most relief I felt the whole game, which is stupid because, as other players have mentioned, it seems like optimism is enough to draw him to you. Which I walk through the hallway. Okay, so I walk through the hallway and into my bedroom, and I can see the giant cylinders of salt sitting right there in front of my computer monitor. As soon as I grab one, the room goes cold, and all of the rooms in my house that never get cold, of all the rooms in my house that never gets cold, it's my bedroom. My bedroom is the hottest in the house due to the insulation. And yet, I suddenly have the urge to shiver. I turn around immediately with a salt shaker and hand in hand and another under my arm, and 1:47 a.m. Two things immediately catch my eye. I don't see Ryan, who had just been behind me up until the hallway in the bedroom. I do, however, see the glow of his candle coming from around the corner. I take a moment to wonder why he didn't come help me, since I only have one free hand due to the other grasping the candle. And I get my answer. B, the subtlest, most disturbing bob of a head to my left, right over my bed. I swear to you all, there was a figure just sitting in the middle of my bed. His head had just moved. Between the cold and lack of Ryan near me, and now this man who silently perched on my bed, I lose my shit. I run straight out the door, my candle miraculously staying lit. But I drop the salt shaker that I had in my armpit, and I emerge with only one of them. I expect Ryan to get mad at me, but I round the corner, and his eyes are so wide that I become startled again. Go, 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 he says right before his candle goes out. I feel awful for this, but I kept booking it to the kitchen, turning around as soon as candlelight reappears from behind. I don't know how long it took him, but it definitely didn't exceed 10 seconds. I try to apologize to him, and he tells me that, in all honesty, he would have done the same. So 11:50 to 2:30. We decide basically to avoid the east part of the house, since both times of seeing him involved my bathroom or bedroom, and the living room was where my candle had gone out the first time. We also discussed the salt shaker situation, coming to a mutual decision that if one of our candles fails, that person will circle themselves and give the salt shaker to the other person to continue on. At this point, that happening is my biggest fear, for Ryan's candle to go out, and him having to plant himself in the house, and me having to traverse on my own for the rest of it. Even though we had a 40-minute period of absolutely nothing, There wasn't a single ounce of relief to come with each passing minute. Relief felt like weakness to me, and weakness felt like something the Midnight Man would see. 2:30 to 2:40, we decided to go into the Florida room for the first time all night. It extends so long across the back of the house that I feel like there are many chances to see him just lurking. I feel like staying in the kitchen and the garage and the dining area is going to do us in. So we enter. We have a tiny bit of light coming through the terrace windows from the streetlights on the avenue next to ours, but it's barely a glow. The room is still very, very dark, and we do the only thing we can think of, pace up and down slowly, hoping that the last hour or so will go well. 2:45 a.m. So we're almost there at this point. If you look at the pictures of the previously mentioned pictures of the house, you'll see that there's a futon at one end of the room. Ryan and I sat on it to rest for just a few minutes. Since we'd basically been on our feet since midnight, like an idiot, I let myself get hopeful at what time it was, and how we would be done with this nonsense in a really short period, and how we survived the midnight. Oh, he's right there. I look up and see the blinds parted just a smidgen. Before I even look up, I see this dark figure. Get off. I get off the futon and dart straight ahead. I run about halfway through the room, and in the most terrifying second of my whole life, something comes crashing down on me. My overactive imagination can only assume one thing. The Midnight Man materializes through the glass slider and pounces on me like the hunter from Left 4 Dead. But after a second or two, I realized what was on me was flat and scratchy. Ryan shouts out from behind. At first, I assume it's because he saw me get hit by a chunk of ceiling or guys assumed he saw me get hit by the chunk of ceiling that had just swiped the side of my head. But no, his candle has gone out again. Still holding mine, I turn to see him booking it towards me. Light your candle, I yell. But he doesn't respond to that. I notice how he isn't even holding his candle anymore, but the salt shaker. He's like, oh, screw this candle. He's like, here's a salt shaker. I'm done. He does something that I never even thought of. He starts to pour the salt circle around the both of us, and an amorphous boundary that seems to connect just fine. It's absolutely huge. And even though I still have a lit candle, I'm inside with him. His face looks absolutely horrified. I have a brief terror of now I have to go play. Now I have to go play by myself for the rest of the night, which followed immediately by a sudden realization that no, I don't, and I blow out the candle. I would not have blown that candle out. I would have sat
What?
my I would have sat my happy ass right there in that salt circle with a lit candle and not thought twice about it. I would have been like, mm-mm.
My word. Wait, what time are we at now?
So we're about to go into 2:50 a.m. and to 3:33 a.m.
Okay.
So, oh Christ, I almost didn't even know. I almost didn't even want to talk about this part. The first thing my mind conceives up when I blew out the candle is that I made a really stupid decision. This is followed by the reminding myself that I'm already in the salt circle, and Ryan even says to me, "Good, good. I'm really glad you didn't. I'm really glad you did that." um, the two of us are just sitting on the disgusting floor, the salt border honestly looking more of an acorn than a circle, but there isn't any gaps. We sit there. We sit and there is nothing but complete silence. My pupils are still getting cozy with the idea of dilating after all the candle time. I swear that I'm seeing movement over on the futon where we had been. I don't ask Ryan to turn I don't ask Ryan to turn and look at me. I just want it to end. Throughout nearly 3/4 of an hour we spent in that cramped salt acorn, we we both got chills at a completely separate time. I heard a whisper, no, 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 like a mantra for 30 seconds. And when I looked at Ryan to comfort him, I'm horrified to see that he is not the one saying it. And by the time the watch hit 3:33, we hadn't moved. We didn't leave the damn thing until at least 3:40. Both slowly and silently, we got up and turned
Be
every
there
single.
until daylight.
Huh?
I'd be there until daylight.
Heck yeah. And then so they got up slowly and turned on every single light in the house. So there is an afterword of this experience. Um so I afterwards of this whole experience, I went to the bathroom to see what kind of mark that ceiling piece had left. And all you could and I could and as you could see, because they included a his injury. The piece of ceiling that fell was clearly part of a already deteriorating room. The rest of the ceiling that had fallen last summer, but there was no activity back there since. The fact that another large chunk would fall as we were playing the midnight game right after seeing him and right as I'm underneath it is staggeringly horrible. It has been a few days, so it isn't nearly as bad as what it was, just a small gash. I have had horrible nightmares the past 2 nights, horrible. People I know in places from my childhood, they'll be talking to me normally and calmly, and then all of a sudden their eyes are pupilless and their tongues are wagging, almost as absurdly creepy as the original Evil Dead. Um, Only realistic in a way that I can't and will not describe. None of my dreams have involved the Midnight Man, but I can't help but feel like I lost. We shouldn't have shared the same salt circle because that was never verified as workable in the rules. I shouldn't have blown out my candle myself. Even if I was in the circle was, as said, barely a circle. How the hell could past players manage to do a circle in the dark? I don't know if I'm being tormented or if I'm just paranoid. Ryan and I spoke the next day and he had a nightmare as well, but his had to do with drowning and being resurrected and drowning again. I haven't spoke to him yet today, so I don't know if he had another bad dream tonight. Don't play the midnight game. It's not worth it.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not playing that one.
Hell no.
I'm wondering if if a lot of people play and then just don't have any luck too, because I don't understand why the door has to be wood.
Yeah,
But as we said, like, how many people are gonna actually have a wood door? A
right.
front door anyway,
Well,
nowadays.
isn't wood, well, what is it? Wood, stone, and water are all conduits, aren't they?
You think that's what the reason is?
It's possible.
We'll
It's
have to look into that.
easier to move in and out of.
Interesting, interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, you gotta watch that movie.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
didn't
playing that
realize
game.
it was
Oh
Mm.
my gosh. All right.
I'll have to get Deborah's opinion on that at a later date.
Yeah. All right. You got another game?
I do, which is funny because you just said about the whole the guy's dream about the drowning. This one is called the bath game.
Ah.
Maybe they played that next. So this is from hideandgokill.fandom.com. So the bath game was formerly known as Durama San, maybe.
Mhm.
Um, it's an old game summoning a ghost from a bathtub that follows you all day. Playing the bath game can result in bad things happening to you, even death. What you will need. You'll need a bathroom with a bathtub. All right. So starting the game. Before you go to bed, you're going to take off all of your clothes. You're going to enter the bathroom, fill up the bathtub, and turn out all the lights. You're going to sit in the middle of the bathtub while facing the faucet or the tap. Close your eyes and wash your hair. I don't know about washing your hair in a game, but we'll roll with it.
Yeah.
As you wash your hair, you should repeat these words. Durama-san fell down. Durama-san fell down. Do not stop repeating this. Wow, I kind of wish I didn't do that. Do not stop repeating this until you finish washing your hair. Your eyes must remain shut. As you wash your hair, you will picture a Japanese woman standing in the bathtub. She will slip and fall onto a rusty tap, gouging her eye out, killing her.
Oh, jeez.
You will hear a sound coming from behind you or feel a movement in the bath. Do not turn around or peek. You finally. Jeez. That scared the Jesus out of me. I'm like, do not turn around. What? You will hear a sound coming from behind you or feel a movement in the back. Do not turn around or peek. You have finally summoned the ghost. You will feel her presence as she emerges out of the bathtub. Ask out loudly, why did you fall in the bathtub? You can finally get out of the bathtub and make sure your eyes remain shut. Make sure not to slip or trip as you get out of the bath. Do not drain the water until the next morning. Shut the door behind you. It is now safe to open your eyes. Keep the water in the bathtub until morning, and that's in bold. Do not turn on any lights and go to bed. All right, so what the woman looks like. The woman is a ghostly figure that will follow you all day. She wears tattered and stained white clothes with black hair. She has only one eye. Her left eye is wide open and bloodshot. Her right eye is missing, just leaving a bloody hollow eye socket.
Mm.
Playing the game. When you wake up in the morning, the game will begin. No, I thought we already started. So all that other stuff. All right.
So this is
Um,
basically how parents tell their kids to take a bath.
yeah. Oh gosh. Um,
They're
let's
like, you
see.
better go take a bath or
Oh,
Daruma son
can
will
you
get you.
imagine how many? Maybe a bunch of kids in Japan are traumatized.
Right.
Your day will begin normal until you feel the presence of the one eyed woman glancing over your right shoulder. When you turn around, she will not be there. She will get closer and closer as your day goes on. Do not let her catch you. If the one eyed woman is getting too close, you should shout, Tomare, Tomare, which means stop. Then run away fast. This will put distance between you and the woman. You must end this game before midnight, or she will keep stalking you and appear in your dreams to kill you. Ending the
Jeez.
game. What? Why would you start this game? I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Sounds like Freddy Krueger.
To end the game, you must catch a glimpse of the one eyed woman and shout, uh, Kita, Kita, which means I cut you loose, while swinging your arm in a chopping motion. Oh, so I wonder if it's like forming an attachment because then you're cutting strings.
Yeah.
Um, this will put distance between you and the woman. You must end the game before. Nope, not there. The game will end, and the one-eyed woman won't follow you anymore. And like the other game, there are rules. So one, do not open your eyes when the ghost first appears. Two, do not let the one-eyed woman trip you when you leave the bathtub. Your eyes are closed. How are you gonna know?
Wait, okay, wait. So you start in the bathtub, so she comes when you're in the bathtub. So if you get out of the bathtub and she trips you, then you're screwed.
Basically, you're dead before the game starts in the morning.
Jeez, this is a long period of a game.
This is just a crazy one. Like I don't even know. Like how did this get started? Rule 3: do not re-enter the bathroom after you leave. 4: do not drain the bath until morning. And 5: do not let the one-eyed woman catch you. This game is very dangerous. If it can get you killed when you get out of the bathtub, it is important to play with caution. Okay, so what do you think of that?
I don't take baths, but I like we just have well, our guest bathroom has a bath, but I've always been too tall to fit in baths. Uh,
Really?
yeah, so I can't like take a bath.
Oh,
So I'm good. I just take a shower. But I think to me this sounds like a way that parents would be like, "You better take a shower, or Daruma-san will get you." And like that's just what it sounds like to me. I think it's a ploy by parents to make sure their kid bathes.
I don't know. That's pretty scary. It's really traumatizing. Well, we do have some people who have played it.
Yep.
So let's start with somebody from Reddit. And this is another deleted name. So I guess they don't have an account anymore, or, not here. So this is titled, Do Not Play Paranormal Games You Read Online. She is here. I have always been a paranormal enthusiast. I especially enjoy researching myths and urban legends. I find that I am a very hard person to spook. I've yet to find a horror movie that has actually made me feel fear. I do find Japanese horror to be terrifying, though. That and real life events like being kidnapped or followed. I decided to actually try one of the many ghost games I had read about online. I am a major skeptic, and if it works, I would enjoy the thrill of being afraid. I only now realize what a mistake I have made. I follow a blog that I won't name to keep it to keep its anonymity. However, its focus point is horror. The poster often has master posts, one of which being a list of horror games. I decided to view it and select a game frighten which I would find it would frighten me the most of the list. The game I selected is called Bath Game. It's a paranormal ghost game that originated in Japan. Fantastic. It involves summoning a ghost that will follow you throughout the day. You can read about it here. This isn't the horror blog I was talking about, by the way. Last night, before bed, is when I decided I was going to do it. I reread the post in case I were to forget anything. I went over the rules over and over again. I was ready. I waited until everyone in the house was asleep as I live in with 3 other people. I stripped naked in my room and peeped into the hallway to make sure no one would see me. And I stepped across the hallway and into the bathroom, which is directly across from my room. Shutting the door behind me, I put the plug in place and turned on the faucet to the bath, and sat on the side of the tub waiting for it to fill before I turned off the tap and the light. The room was still slightly lit from the window, so I didn't have trouble making my way into the tub. I sat the wrong way. I was meant to face the faucet so she would be behind me, but I sat the other way by accident. I shut my eyes and began washing my hair, whilst repeating the words, Durama-san fell down, as I was told to do. I never saw the mental image in my mind that I was supposed to apparently see, the one of the woman falling in a tub and impaling her eye on the tap. I didn't feel the movement in the tub from her rising out of the water. I guess from here on I knew it wouldn't work. I slightly laughed to myself and how stupid I was for even trying this in the first place. Since I didn't feel her presence, I didn't say the phrase, Why did you fall in the tub? I finished washing my hair, got out of the tub slightly feeling myself go off balance, and walked out of the bathroom, shutting the door behind me. I then opened my eyes. I felt like an idiot. I dried myself off, got dressed, and then went to sleep. That brings us to today. I woke up and I felt the same way I normally did. Nothing was different. My mother told me she woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and drain the tub because I forgot to do it. I knew the rules were to only drain it the next day, but I didn't care. It hadn't worked, so I shrugged it off. My mother needed a few items from the store, so I volunteered to go for her. It was quite early in the morning. Kids were still on their way to school, and adults hadn't left for work. The streets practically deserted. It was lightly raining, so I took an umbrella with me. As I left, I smirked, remembering last night, and I looked over my right shoulder to see if there was truly anything behind me. Nothing. Of course, I kept walking. This dude has broken every rule. As I reached the main road, the shops were just on the other side. There was no traffic, just as expected. It was hard to see from the rain that had picked up, but I could see someone standing on the other side of the road. White dress, long black hair, covering the face. Oh, come on, I muttered under my breath. It was such a classic thing to see in a Japanese horror film. Was someone with me? Bleep that. She wasn't behind me, so it couldn't have been related to the game. Maybe it was just the woman who needed something from the store, just like I did. But she didn't move at all. It was pouring rain by this point, and she stood in it facing the store that was just a small walk away before she would have had shelter. I stepped onto the road and slowly walked toward the store. She was out of the way of the path, so I just ignored her. I tipped my umbrella forward so I could block the view of her in front of me. When I made it to the store's entrance, I pulled my umbrella shut and looked behind me. Nothing. No one. What the f? Maybe she went around the corner. I continued on inside and focused on why I was there in the first place. When I had finished shopping, the rain had subsided. I walked the same route home. When you cross the main road, there is an alleyway, and when you are on my street, when I got to the entrance of the alleyway, I stopped dead in my tracks. In the middle of the walkway was the same woman from before, just standing in the middle, facing away from me. I knew better than to walk down there, so I turned and decided to go the long way around without taking the shortcut. When I turned into my street, I was almost about to walk past the entrance to the alley when I noticed her standing right there. No longer in the middle, she was within hand's reach of me, and I was walking along the pathway. I ran. I have never ran so fast in my life. I didn't look back. I had never been so afraid in my life. I got home, put the shopping bag on the kitchen counter, and ran to my room and shut the door behind me. I climbed into bed, and I'm assuming that I soon fell asleep. I awoke. I awoke to a woman standing on my bed with the sheet wrapped around her neck, the same woman from the street. One eye was visible on her face, the rest hidden, tangled in her hair. Her eyes were large and her mouth was slack jawed. All I could manage to say was, "What are you doing?" I then awoke again, and that brings us now to Reddit. What have I done? And then
Uh,
there's a bunch of comments, basically people saying, "Get some sage." What
no, thank you.
do you think of that?
Yeah, no, that's terrifying. Mm, that's I would never play that game. That is
And he didn't even do it right. He literally broke like every single rule.
right. Yeah, I would not be playing that at all. But then, and if you're gonna play it, at least do it correctly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of these games are so not gamey.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I mean, they're definitely like rituals. It's and people are like, "Oh, it's fun. It's a game." Um, yeah, I wouldn't. Uh, nope, no, thank
Oh,
you.
I have another one. This one says, this one's from 3 years ago, also from Reddit, from TJ Leah. It's titled, "Did Nobody Else Play the Bath Game?" Okay, let me just get straight to the point. I do not believe for 1 second that no other child played the bath game growing up. I'm convinced my friends are trolling me, but they're not responding to my messages, so I'm left with little choice but to bring my question here, hoping someone will know what the hell I'm talking about. I was around 5 or 6. I can't believe kids this little know this game.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean,
I was around,
I knew about Bloody Mary when I was in kindergarten or first grade because I remember in preschool, I have this vivid memory and it's kind of fucked up. But I that was when I was in preschool was when Casper came out. And so like Pizza Inn or Pizza Hut or something, when Pizza Hut still gave like promotional toys,
right.
I got a glow in the dark Casper hand puppet. And so I took it to preschool one day for show and tell, and I took it. I remember going into the bathroom with it and turned the lights off in the bathroom, but I just had like my hand was just glowing because of this Casper. And I remember being in the bathroom going like, "Ooh."
Oh my God. Well, I think, but Bloody Mary is not like a whole, like you have to do this overnight. Like there's not like, I mean, you
Right.
basically go in the bathroom, shut off the lights, and say something. It's
Right.
not like
Like this
as
is a
involved
full
as these ones.
these are full like set up rituals. Like you have
Yeah, like
to
people are
take time.
conjuring.
Yeah, you have to take time to prepare for these things. Like it needs a drop of your blood or it needs a candle and salt and like this is straight like I bet you Marie Laveau, look, she would be able to tell us exactly what kind of ritual it was.
All right.
Yeah, no thank you.
All right. This is the Dorama Sand bath game and why you shouldn't play it. So this is again Reddit 3 years ago from Nana Mambella. When I was 12, I was what you would call the edgy type. I needed entertainment, adrenaline, since I didn't do stupid teenager stuff. I played every ghost game in the book and nothing happened. The last I played was Drama San. I didn't even play it right. I wonder how come nobody plays this game right and it still seems like something.
Right.
In the game, you're supposed to recite something as you wash your hair and then immediately get out and leave the bathwater in the tub until the next day. The woman follows you around and you have to yell something at her when you see her to get her to go away. I didn't play it right. I didn't leave the water in the tub. I didn't say the end didn't spell it. Didn't say the end didn't spell, but it didn't even make sense. I didn't see Jarama San myself. See, now she said spell. So right there, you're losing the whole game
Yeah.
thing. You know it. A few months later, I started to have vivid nightmares of a lady with black hair and a torn white gown. Her face was non existent. She was soaked in water. She led me to weird places. She choked me in my dreams. But all of this time, I told myself it was just lucid nightmares due to stress. Then one summer day, I was walking home with my dog. I saw a lady in front of me stop with her own dog in hand, and I didn't want to deal with meeting someone, so I moved to the other side of the street. I walked home, sat on my front steps to enjoy the day a little longer. Across the street and behind a tree, I saw the woman from my dreams. She was standing there and slowly moved her hair away from her eye to look at me. I never opened my front door faster. After that, I had the weirdest dreams. A lot of them involved water and weird figures. I've never had a dream since that day where I didn't feel vivid and remember every minute of it. They weren't dreams. They felt like I was in another universe when I went to bed. We moved. The new family did a huge religious cleanse on the house. Wonder why. One night in my new house, I had a dream of the Dharmasan returned. She dragged me down a dark hall and shoved me into a bathtub. The bathtub was white and vintage. It had black vines growing in it, and it was filled to the brim with water. She shoved my head under a few times and picked it back up. She called me pathetic. She told me she won, and that the last image I have from the dream is me shooting up from the water despite her grip. I fought her. I never did that before. After that, I haven't seen her for a while, but I can tell that something still lurks. I can tell that she's here. She's waiting for the right moment to lunge. Please, please, please don't play this game. It ruined my life and I don't want it to ruin yours. Whenever I think of it, I can still feel her hands tightening around my neck. It's traumatic and I'm probably going to live with paranoia for a while. Water scares me now.
Mm.
What do you think of that one?
So she says it still is attached to her.
Well, she's saying she's still having nightmares and she can feel something.
Mm. Yeah, she straight up summoned a demon.
Now, the interesting thing, though, like a lot of times when we talk about games and then we read the stories, the results are so different from
Mm-hmm.
each other. But this story and the first story actually kind of match a little bit.
Right.
Both seeing the woman like in real life across the street, and they both say her eye is like covered until she uncovers it, and then they both have a dream phase.
Right. There's another
And
one. There's another game that we'll have to talk about on another episode because I'm gonna have to find it. But it's also Japanese culture has a lot of these spirits, these
right.
entities, these games. But there's one and it's from the Japanese culture. But basically, if you see this particular woman on the streets, um, you're not supposed to like answer her or anything like that. So I'll have to find that one for when we do a part 3 of this because we're already at an hour and 15 and we've only done what 2 or 3 games.
We did 2 games today.
Two
We had a
games.
lot of Reddit stories to go with them.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, it sounds like the Japanese might have more kind of paranormal, haunted games than we have, because I feel like when I'm reading through them, a lot of them come from some kind of Japanese.
Yeah, it sounds like that. That's definitely like a lot of I mean, they also are more open to it than we are. Like American culture is not really open to it
Right.
as much, but in Japanese or in Asian culture, they thoroughly believe that the ancestors are your guides and they're thoroughly involved in the spirit world.
So do you think a lot of Japanese people perform like rituals and spells and stuff? Like I've never even
I don't know.
a lot of these games do seem like ritualistic.
They do. Um I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's practices of witchcraft and stuff in Asian cultures. Um, just like there's, you know, voodoo here, voodoo and hoodoo. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's bound to be like medicine men and stuff over there.
Right. Right.
It's just interesting to think about. But
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've never thought about before.
yeah, well, because we're so focused on where we are, it's hard for us to get out of other or get into other cultures. But yeah, it's definitely it is definitely something to think about. Cause okay, is this one so the Dharma son, is that one's not so much ritualistic as it is just a
It's more of a conjuring.
right.
Maybe you conjure something that attaches to you.
So maybe there's not like because the Midnight Man and the doll game, those come from American culture where it's more dark magic where there's blood rituals in there.
Right, right.
So I don't know.
I'm not trying to play any of them. Anyhow, anywho, anytime, any place, nothing.
Preach it. I am not trying to hang out with that.
And if
But
Deborah was here, she'd go, nope.
nope. I definitely it's weird not having one, it's weird not having Deborah here this week. And two, it's weird being remote this week. But you don't want to be at my house anyway, because my house is a disaster zone after just getting back from vacation. Um, I spent
Didn't know this worked that well. I was running all around today. My father-in-law had surgery, so I've been going
uh,
back and forth.
so, but we will definitely have to have a well. Like I said earlier, I think this is going to be a part, like a multiple part, because there are so many games, and the cool thing is we can start to dive into other cultures as well, a
Oh
little,
yeah, yeah.
a little bit more. Um,
Maybe we can do a night where we pick like you're gonna do games from here. Deborah's gonna do games from here. I'm gonna do
ooh,
Deborah's from my culture.
games from around the world. That would be really cool.
I
But
like it.
yeah. And then well, next week for us, but this week, no, yeah. Next week for you guys listening is Halloween week, so we will be having a Halloween special. I think we're gonna go on location somewhere, so we won't be in my kitchen. So we're gonna try and figure out
That one?
do what?
We have a guest for that one.
We do have a guest for that one. So I'm just we're trying to figure out where we're gonna go. Um, so y'all make sure to stick around for that. And yeah, we got a lot coming up. Busy next couple of weeks for us. All this whole month has been busy, but we have it will have already passed by the time you're hearing
Mhm.
this conversation, but we have a talk at one of the local libraries tomorrow, which is Friday the 20th that we're recording this. So we'll have a talk tomorrow at the library, and we got a couple of cool investigations coming up. So y'all just keep an eye out on our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, on our website, and right here on Spotify, YouTube, everywhere else that we are. We're busy.
This is growing.
It is. So, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We're now at I checked today and we were at 1670 on the follower count for Facebook. So, we're doing good. So, also, you guys listening, if you have a story that you would like to submit, please head over to our Facebook. Click the link. It's pinned to the top of the page under our features. Click that link, submit a story, and it could be featured right here on this podcast. So,
Yay.
yeah. Well, on that note, we are an hour and 20 in. And so it's probably best we call it for tonight. That was a fun one though. Those were fun games.
They're all fun.
So, yeah.
They are.
So, but Linnea, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Bring all of your equipment.
I got it.
So, and there y'all have it. 2 more games to add to your list of things not to do, because again, we don't recommend it.
Nope. No
And
how.
we are not responsible for anything you bring into your home.
Nope.
And until next time, y'all come back now, you hear? Bye.